that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
What's going on, family? It is your brother King Cam, and welcome back to another powerful episode of Shifting the Culture podcast. All right, so listen, this is where we speak truth to power, and we elevate the people and challenge the narrative. So tonight, as you can see, we're going to be discussing. Is the black church afraid of the Muslims? Is the black church afraid of the Muslims? So what I need everybody to do, family, as you come in, I need you to make sure that you like, share, subscribe. I need you to smash that like button. I need you to make sure that you smash that subscribe button, as well as hit that bell so that you can stay notified each and every time that we drop a video here on YouTube. We growing the family. The movement is moving, all right, shifting the culture. We got merch on the way, too. I've been meaning to tell y'all we working on that. We're going to have merch on the way. Give your brother a couple more months. By the time the fall hits, we're going to have merch on deck for shifting the culture. All right? We're going to have merch on deck for shifting the culture. So in the meantime, what I need everybody to do is I need you to hit your phones, and I need you to make sure that you share the link out via Facebook. I need you to make sure you share the link out via YouTube. I need you to make sure that you share the link out to any family and friends or anybody who may be interested in this conversation tonight. All right? So yeah, we want to go ahead and get right into it. And I'm gonna actually be sharing some commentary from a brother on YouTube who actually took up this subject. I'm gonna be sharing some commentary from a brother on YouTube who actually took up this subject, and then I'm gonna be giving some commentary based on some of his thoughts. I thought what he said was interesting. He had a lot of good points, so I want to get further into him in tonight's episode. All right. So, but before we do that, let's do this. Yeah.
Freak, are you kidding me?
All right, so while we got that going on, family, we want to just go ahead and share this out on YouTube. We're going to get on Facebook, my bad. And we want to just go ahead and share this link out to a couple people, and then we're going to get right into our topic for tonight. All right. So let me do this. Bam. Bam. And we're going to share this link out like this. Group me. All right. Cool. And listen, as you come in, family, make sure that you let us know what city and state that you're tuning in from. Hit the comment section. Let me know what city and state you tuned in from. All right. Let's go. Boom. Here. Because I want to know who tapping in tonight with this conversation. All right. Boom. Yeah, don't forget, man. We got the music on deck, too. Coming back with some more of that music. We was on this. We hit this beat. All right, so we shared that out. All right, cool. All right. So now that we went ahead and got the link shared out, family, I need y'all to make sure y'all do that as well. Instagram, you already know we're not live on Instagram, but the clips will be uploaded. And make sure you're following us on all social media platforms at Brother King Cam, as well as Shifting the Culture Pod. Okay? Shifting the Culture Pod. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to cut that off now. All right, and then we in the building. What's going on, brother Malcolm Flex, man? Shout out to the God right there, man. Shout out to the God. What's going on, brother Nathan? Yeah, integration was a big mistake, and even Martin Luther King said that before he was assassinated. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you know one thing about it is I hear some of these pastors that speak and teach liberation theology, which is out of the house of Dr. King. And actually, let me just go a little bit further, because Dr. King actually had a mentor. His name was Howard Thurman, who was the mentor to Dr. King, who actually was the one who introduced liberation theology to the black church. So this is very important. But you hear a lot of them talk about the quote of Martin Luther King saying that he feared that he has integrated his people into a burning house or a burning building, right? And then they go into the whole economic liberalism or economic pushback. But they don't talk about the fact that the integration piece was really the piece that started to bring all of the rest of the pieces down and caused the whole thing to crumble. They don't really like to talk about the fact that integrating into the burning house means us coming away from having our own and integrating ourselves into what the enemy had was what was really our downfall as a people, and took away our creative ability to want to accept our own and be ourselves, right? So that's a huge part of that. But I want y'all to listen to this brother right here, and we're gonna be doing some commentary because he's the one that made me want to talk about this concept tonight, for real, for real. So we're gonna listen to a little bit of this. I'm gonna give a little bit of commentary of my own, and y'all just let me know what your thoughts are. I'm gonna chime in as well, but this is gonna be a great discussion tonight. All right, so listen, check this out.
The black church. And because of the great strides of the black church for the cause of freedom, the black church has really been the leader of black America. That's a fact. They've been the leaders. However, when Marcus Garvey started his movement, Du Bois and his people were one of the chief enemies of Marcus Garvey. I'm not getting into all of the government stuff right now. He worked for this, and this person was a CIA operative. I'm just saying it on the surface. And when the Nation of Islam were making great strides, whereas the blacks were saying we shall overcome, the Nation of Islam was buying farmland, establishing stores, bakeries, restaurants. We had Muslims at that time coming to millionaire, $1 million status with their own independent businesses, selling Muslim products. And we are the ones who established our own school system. We don't have an independent black.
Okay. Hold on, fam. Hold on. All right. So point number one. He's talking about doing the 1950s, the 1960s, where there was the struggle, when the height of the civil rights struggle, really 59 going into 59 to 68, that's the height of the civil rights struggle. And at that time, the black church was at the forefront, of that battle, in much respect. You had the Deacons of Defense. You had the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which was Dr. King and them. You had NAACP, that's W.E.B. Du Bois. So you had all of these different black organizations. A lot of them spearheaded by either your black Christians or your black intellectuals, And then you also had another side of the liberation movement that included your Nation of Islam or your Booker T. Washingtons. You know, more of the blue collar, working, boots on the ground, from the streets, black liberation theology, if you will. But the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was, listen, the white man is the devil, and we got to do something for self or suffer the consequences. So after teaching that, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I need to put that into motion. We got to put that into practice. So putting that into practice looked like getting our own schools, as brother just mentioned, having our own grocery stores, having our own banks, right? Establishing ourselves separate from the open enemy. So this is what was going on. Meanwhile, you had Dr. King, you know, having people to integrate in the boycott. That's what they was on. So two different ideologies on how we fight oppression happening at the same time against the same enemy. But let's listen. Let's go on.
Black church school system that's national. We never had.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform made for anyone with an idea and a drive to bring it to life.
Had one. The Ebenezer Baptist Church, they don't have a national civil rights school or national school for the liberation of our people. They didn't do those types of things. Here in Atlanta, we had a lot of African-American business establishment, but that's it. And we had a lot of establishment in a lot of places. But look what happened after assimilation, segregation or desegregation. A lot of our stuff went to the wayside because we would rather have our children in another school, or we would rather have our business go to someone else's grocery store than to support our own store, because at the core of it, we were still, because we were in the church and because we wanted to desegregate, we were still seeing the white man as superior. But these movements that I'm pointing to right now, like the Nation of Islam, we did not see the white man as superior. We did not see the white man as the authority. We did not see him as the model that we should aspire to become. So we represent, and I'm speaking about Marcus Garvey, the Moorish Science Temple, the African-American Muslim movements, all the way into the transition into Islam proper. We were a group that wanted to think on our own, have our own schools, have our own business establishments, have our own culture and customs. We didn't want to become Caucasian people. And we didn't believe that we needed to depend upon the white establishment in order to be successful. And it became a sore spot.
Right. So listen. This is absolutely true. Again, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam were spearheading the idea of doing for self. And even before the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you had Marcus Garvey, who was also talking about doing for self. You know, he had the ships. He had the ships. He had the UNIA, right? He was talking about circulating the black dollar and doing for self. So the idea was that the enemy has so indoctrinated us that we had become, even though our mouths said one thing, we was completely different in what we was doing with our body. Our actions was completely and totally different. So here we go.
Christian church establishment, because they knew that we had achieved something that they had not been able to achieve in all of their years following whites. What do I mean? First, we could actually start with their sort of grand thinker, Dr. Howard Thurman, who was seen as the mentor of Dr. King. And he writes in his autobiography, number one, he writes how his grandmother would have him read the Bible to her. She was a slave at her time. I mean, not at this time. But long story short, he's reading the Bible to her, and she's telling him to skip over certain parts because she couldn't read, you know. He said, and during those days, we didn't ask the elders questions as children. He said, but when I got old enough, I asked her, well, why did you have me skip such and such part? And she said, because those were the verses that the slave masters would have read out to us to sort of fortify the system of slavery. And then he also says in the same autobiography that he went to visit Mahatma Gandhi, the same person that Dr. King said, or one of the sources for him drawing his nonviolent approach to civil rights or the civil rights protests, Gandhi. And Gandhi told Howard Thurman, well, why don't your people consider becoming Muslim? Because in Islam, this race problem doesn't exist, so on and so forth. And I'm a person, and many of you all know this who study religion, the wise, that's what they do. They speak with wisdom. Even when they tell a joke, they're communicating wisdom. Why would this man put this statement of Gandhi in there if he didn't want for some of his people to give serious thought to it? And we can go further. James Cone, the founder of Black Liberation Theology, like here, if you go to, I don't even know if they're still in operation, ITC.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. He corrected me. James Cone is the father of Black Liberation Theology, not Dr. Howard Thurman. Dr. Howard Thurman was seen as the mentor to Dr. King. The father of Black Liberation Theology is Dr. James Cone. So thank you, brother, for the correction.
The Intertheological Denomination Seminary, something like that. Here in Atlanta, it's in the same AUC with Morehouse and Spelman and all of that. Well, they have a theological school. They're going to teach you Black liberation theology. They talk about Howard Thurman as if he's, you know, like how the Muslims speak about Imam al-Ghazali or something like that. That's how they talk about Howard Thurman. And
y'all want to know something crazy? The crazy thing about Black liberation theology is that you have some Christians today who consider Black liberation theology to be heresy in the church. They consider it to be heresy in the church and say that there's no room for race in Christian doctrine. Jesus didn't preach that. This is what they say. Jesus didn't preach that. So Black liberation theology is heresy in the Black church. So they get on people like Pastor Dr. Jamal Bryant, other pastors, I want to say Dr. Jeremiah Wright, who preached Black liberation theology. And they would classify them as, you know, those who preach that. And like I said, they call that heresy, which is interesting. Black liberation, the God that you serve is not there to liberate a people who have been oppressed by another people. And that type of talk is considered heresy. I just putting it out there, though. I'm just putting it out there. It's interesting to know.
And they talk about James Cone in a similar manner as one of these towering figures of theology. But he said out of his own mouth that he was in the church and he was struggling with Christian belief. He said, and here we were hearing Malcolm in the Nation of Islam tell us, you all are following a white man's religion. You all are not helping your people, so on and so forth. And James Cone said, this is the father of Black liberation theology. He said, we knew deep down they were right. He said, so
Wait a minute. Are you saying, brother, that the father, James Cone of Black liberation theology, who was a Christian, was struggling with the beliefs of Christian doctrine in church? And after hearing the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, he knew that deep down they were right about their theology and about the knowledge and wisdom of God? Come on now. Come on. This is what we discussing tonight. Because ultimately the question is, the question is, is the black church afraid of the Muslims? And there's a reason why we asking that question. Brother Nathan said the same man that give us Christianity is the same one that enslaved us. Yes, and let me explain this to people who hear this but they don't understand. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that that Christianity is a white man's religion. Now, Christian historians and Christian theologians who study the religion through and through and can date it back to its roots in Africa, in Ethiopia, say that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is wrong. How could Christianity be the white man's religion when Christianity predates any white man in America? Predates him. So how could Christianity be the white man's religion? Well, in the lessons, it says that Christianity is 551 years old. So if Christianity is 551 years old, then the Christianity that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking about wasn't the Christianity that originated out of Ethiopia. It wasn't the teachings of Jesus. It was something that came into existence, and it was only 551 years old at the time of the writings of the teachings. So what was that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was letting us know we was being taught? See, it wasn't the teachings of Jesus that we was being taught, brothers and sisters. It was white supremacy with Jesus' face on it. Come on. Come on. We was being taught white supremacy with Jesus' face on it. See, they was using Jesus' good name to shield their dirty religion of white supremacy. So that's what they do. And this is what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching us, but you got to get into the wisdom. See, you hear something on the surface, and the problem with our people is we are surface dwellers. So you hear the white man is the devil, and you hear Christianity is the white man's religion. You don't go no further than that. You don't go no deeper than that. You don't say, why would Elijah say that? Why would Farrakhan say that? You don't even think to go deeper into what is actually being said to pull out the true wisdom. Where he was letting you know that no. This isn't the teachings of Jesus that is the white man's religion. This is white supremacy, oppression, deprivation. That's the white man's religion that's being taught, and it's using our good brother Jesus' name to shield their dirty religion. So we just got to clear that up for those who needed to understand. When the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you hear brothers from the Nation of Islam say that, that's what we're talking about. Just wanted to clear that up and put that on record. But let's go, brother Rashad. Let's get back into it, brother.
I had to research and come up with an articulation of Christianity that would satisfy the problems or would address the problems of black people in America. In other words, I have to blackify Christianity. I can't just join the Muslims because I know they're right. What they're telling me, we know that they're right, but I don't want to join them. So let me blackify Christianity to make it palatable for our people. And that's exactly what he did. And that's exactly what they teach in these seminaries now. And they know till this day, I'm talking about the black church establishment. Again, I don't mean this in any disrespect, but they know that we are in the forefront to this day of advancing consciousness and economic independence and dignity, academic independence, so on and so forth. Even now, why? Because again, as I mentioned, it's them. It's the ones from that movement who we will see a part of the Democratic Party. Just vote Democrat, whatever. It's that group that will even be in Hollywood. I don't want to name any names, but you all know what I'm talking about. They will sacrifice their morality for the Democratic Party, for Hollywood. They will sacrifice their morality to be a part of the structure.
And that's another good point. Brother Rashad brought that up. I appreciate him for hitting on that as well. Because He's 100% right. You know, your favorite pastor, more than likely, is either a spokesman for the Democratic Party, active and, active voting Democrat himself, and uses the rostrum or his pulpit as a bully pulpit, if you will, to promote Democratic agendas, Democratic ideologies to the congregation. You got a bunch of pastors like that. You got a bunch of civil rights leaders. That's not just pastors, but civil rights leaders as well, who always look to direct our people towards the Democratic Party. We just had a big show of this the last 2 election cycles, when it was President Joe Biden and President Trump, and then it was President Trump, President Kamala Harris, even going back to when former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and President Trump ran against each other. You have those who come out of the ideology, out of the thinking of the civil rights movement, but they have attached themselves to the Democratic Party, as Brother Rashad just mentioned. And they push those ideologies. They push those agendas. They support those candidates. They bring them to their church. They use that as a way to direct our people, shepherd our people in that direction. He also brought up the Hollywood aspect. You do got a lot of your quote unquote, your gospel singers and your big gospel entertainers, right? What they doing? They hanging out in Hollywood. You know? A lot of the churches now, and let me just say this, I love church. I'm a part of the church visit team here in the mosque here in Atlanta. So we go to the church every Sunday. Before we go to the mosque meeting, I'm at church on the Sunday service, early morning Sunday service, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., or 10 a.m. I'm at the service. You know what I'm saying? Praise and worship, I'm in there. Tithes, I'm giving. Sermon, I'm listening. And bearing witness. You feel me? So this ain't no hate or no shade at the church. But we just talking facts though. And everybody can see what we talking about. This ain't nothing that we just making up. Everybody can see this. We don't have to name names for people to know which pastor pushing Democratic policies on people, which pastors is getting on these interviews and using their time on Sunday to prop up Democratic candidates who bringing them to their church and visiting and doing all that kind of stuff. You already know what's going on. So we not making this stuff up. We know the ones, even the big TV producers. Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry grew up in church. He go to church and hang out, with T.D. Jakes and all them. But they hanging in Hollywood. You understand? And they not hanging in Hollywood. I'm not going to say they not. I ain't going to say they not, because I won't dare with them. But, it's hard to know if they there and they dropping, some of the wisdom of Jesus to some of their entertainer friends. You understand? So this is just what's going on. So we have to ask ourselves, why is this entity that was so at the forefront of black liberation somehow now become a part of the machine, become, like the Black Caucus, that is completely has been rendered completely useless, and all of these other black civil rights organizations like NAACP, like Urban League, that actually used to be valuable in the struggle for our liberation, they have become a part of the machine. They become a part of the same system that we've been trying to get out of. And now they're trying to lead the people to that system. But we got a little bit more that we're going to get into with that as well. What's going on? Righteous by Nature. Shout out to Brother Malcolm Flex. Nathan Fields in the building. Appreciate you for coming through. My man said, I still have my Elijah Muhammad t-shirt. Hey, yo, COVID was a time, bro. Everybody had the shirt. Shout out to Malcolm Flex, had the Elijah Muhammad t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like, that was dope. That was dope. Shout out to also Sister Konisa. She had the mask, Nation of Islam mask. So definitely, man, that was crazy, man, the Elijah Muhammad t-shirts. And then he got the daggone cease and desist, Malcolm. You got the cease and desist after a while on them t-shirts, bro. So yeah, so let's get back to brother Rashad on this, because I want y'all to think about this now. Because we got to ask ourselves, what's going on? How did we end up here? All right, let's go, brother Rashad.
Even right now, there's a church movement to boycott Target. And to boycott, I heard it was like
All right, listen up.
Dollar General or something like that. That's next on the list. And immediately, me coming from the Black Muslim experience, I'm saying, well, look, just make your own products. It should, because what that tells me is, if Target or any other chain store would have your products in there, you'd be satisfied. You'd be satisfied being supported by another establishment. But as soon as that establishment doesn't support you or give you what you believe should be proper support, now you galvanize your strength. No other community, no other group in America does this. There's 40 million African Americans. We have 1 point whatever trillion dollar spending power. You mean to tell me that none of these church leaders can come up with the idea of, hey, let's make our own dish soap so we can wash our own dishes with our own hallelujah dish soap? No one came up with that idea. You mean to tell me there's no ingenuity to start our own factories, to do trade with China on our own, to establish our own firms? We collect all of that money from the to keep mega churches open. We collect all of this money to buy nice big houses and cars, but nobody says, let's take some of this money and invest it in a product. Let's come up with an investment strategy for the members of the Black church or for Black America, but we gonna boycott.
Oh, so hold on. Wait, brother Rashad. You cooking, brother. You cooking. Because, yes. Now, let me say this. I'm going to put this on the record. Anytime that I see us as a people openly boycotting the enemy, I'm talking about, we refusing to patronize the open enemy with our time, with our money, with anything, I don't have no problem with that. I really don't. I don't have no problem. Because to me, it's a sign that our people are waking up to a certain extent. Now, so I don't have no problem with the boycott in that particular fashion. You understand? Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but it was stated to me that there would be a more concerted effort on the behalf of those who are influential in the Black community, in the community activism space, right? And it would be more of a effort for us to work together, for all of the ones who got influence, got a platform, the quote unquote Black leaders in the community, for us to get together and to be on the same page. So when we have to go on these national boycotts, or we have, we want to be on the same page with talking points on specific topics, then one person isn't saying this, or one group isn't saying this, and this other group is saying this. So now you splitting up the Black community. That's not the goal. That's not what we're trying to do. So it was stated that it would be a more concerted effort so that we can do that. However, then this boycott comes into effect. The boycott comes into existence after DEI was rolled back by many of these private corporations, after President Donald Trump took the lead on removing DEI from the federal government. and which was revealed that DEI, just like affirmative action, actually helped more white people than it did black people. This is just a fact. This is just a fact, right? Affirmative action, which was before DEI, actually helped more white people at that time. And now DEI, which they said was supposed to help a lot of black people, actually helped a lot of white women. So when those, rollbacks was coming and all of the private companies, Target being one of them, decided that they was going to pull back their DEI initiatives, part of the black community got upset. You going to roll back DEI? You not going to follow through on what you said? You said we was going to do X, Y, and Z for George Floyd, and you said you was going to do X, Y, and Z, and DEI supposed to help our people and help immigrants and all this kind of stuff. Well, we boycott. Okay, fine. We not going to put our money in the Target. And then the numbers was pulled and how much money we spend in Target. Okay, fine. So now we not spending no money in Target. Now, but the premise is because they won't bring back DEI. But then you got Reverend Al Sharpton, who run over there to Costco. And because Costco didn't take back their DEI protocol and initiative, he run over there and take his whole group and have them buy in at Costco, which I stated at the time was dizzy to me, because I'm like, why would you buy in at Costco when you got all the black other owned businesses in New York City that could use them same dollars that you about to give Costco, that don't need our money? They make enough money without us adding to the pot. But we're going to go buy in at Costco just because they kept their DEI initiatives? But again, Al Sharpton is from the School of Civil Rights, who is tied into Democratic Party, which is coming out of that whole DEI initiative. So you see what Brother Rashad is saying. You see the dots connecting. So now he mentions the Target fast and the Target boycott and all of that kind of stuff. And he's saying, why don't we just make our own products? And I'm sure, no matter of fact, it's not I'm sure. I know they know that that is a possibility. That's something that can be done. Why? Because he said Brother Rashad, said no one had the idea to say, let's make our own hallelujah dish soap. Yes, Brother Rashad, somebody had the idea to do that. That somebody is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he told them, he said, listen, we don't have to get into all of this division. Why not pool our resources together and we can have Church of God and Christ string beans? Why don't we buy land and farm, right? And then we have 2nd Street squash and, all of these different products that we can have together that we can circulate throughout the community, because you got your congregation, we got our congregation, you got your people, we got our people. So we just spreading the word, circulating the dollar, doing what we supposed to do, accepting our own and being ourselves. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has put this on the table. The minister has also asked us to boycott Christmas. See? Down with Christmas, down with Santa, and up with Jesus. Because they say Jesus is the reason for the season. But yet and still, you got Santa Claus who running the season, though. So the minister said, nah, to hell with that. We down with Santa, up with Jesus. We're going to boycott. We're not spending no money during them holidays. We're going to focus on Christ, if that's who you say the reason for the season is, and we're going to clean ourselves up. We're going to try and act like Christ instead of acting like niggas and jigaboos doing Christmas Eve. So the minister has put all of this stuff out. But see, there's an issue between why there's been no follow through in that. There's an issue between why there's been no follow through in that. And that's because, see, they don't want to say. The black pastors don't want to say, you know what? Brother Farrakhan was right. Matter of fact, we're going to take the lead. We're going to follow Brother Farrakhan on this. And we're going down with Santa, up with Jesus. Nah, see, they don't want to do that. See, they don't want to give the credit to the black Muslim. And the reason why they did this during the Million Man March. They did this during the Million Man March. A lot of black pastors did not want to support the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the Million Man March initially. And it wasn't until later on that the minister got their support. But initially, they didn't want to support the minister on that because they said, hey, we do the marches around here. The Christian pastors do that. So you don't know nothing about doing no march. You're doing it on a Monday, not on a Saturday. Like, what you got going on? And then where the money going and all this kind of stuff. See, this was the things that was taking place. But ultimately, see, they didn't want the credit to go to the Muslim. And this is what the minister been saying, man. We got to get out of our own way. We got this damn devil that's on our backs, that's after all of us, black Muslims, black Christians, black Jews, Hebrews. He on everybody. He on the non-believers. He on the non-believers. You understand? Anybody black, he on them. But we sit around here and we keep going back and forth with all of this division and this disunity and this stupid infighting. We can't get nothing done. Just imagine if we was to sit together and to actually meet and to actually pool our resources together. Man, we could change our condition within a whole year. But the problem is the people that's out front, they don't want to relinquish their spot. They think because if you bring somebody else in, they're not going to be the point person no more. They're not going to get the interviews for CNN no more. They're not going to be the one getting the headlines no more. See, that light and that mic is a drug. I'm going to say it again. That light and this mic, it's a drug. And that camera, it's a drug for some people. And they can't face the fact that the mic might not be in their face, or the light might not be shining on them, or their name might not be the name that's on the headline for spearheading this movement or this thing or that thing. Huh? See, this is about ego. It's about ego. So, you know, these are the questions we gotta ask, because now we into this fast and this boycott and everything like that. And like brother said, why nobody brought up the fact that instead of trying to running Target down is cool, but after we packed them up, we haven't promoted any black products yet. We haven't said, hey, let's go ahead and take the momentum that we have and get behind this black product. Let's get behind this investment strategy, this initiative. You know, you got churches here. Matter of fact, New Birth is the largest land-owning church in the United States of America. I do know that they have plans. They do have some type of plans going on for the land. But hey, can we get invited to the meeting so we can help? Because that's what this is about. It's about trying to help. And what can we do to help speed the process up? All of those different things. So, all right, Brother Rockman. Back on you, brother. Sorry I took all that time, but, you know, I had to get all of it out. Oh, hold on. I don't know if y'all can hear that. My bad. Hold on. Let me back it up.
Of our people that still has a sense of dependence upon the white establishment. They don't think that that they can exist independent of the white establishment. And it's not about separation. See, when we produce our own product and we have our own stores, and then we can become, or right now you can do online sales. We can be just as competitive, because in other words, See, the white establishment, they're not going to take your product off the wall if it's selling. Money is money. So many of these products that they give us here, we're going to make the little black space in Walmart. We're going to give you this little black. These are all the black products here in this store. That's a charity to you.
Attention growth hackers and hustlers. Would it be a bad idea if we paid for your marketing? That means you would get
And they removed it because there's not no benefit. Believe me, if those things were bringing in the money and they were big sellers, they wouldn't have removed them. So we have this orientation as if we're not receiving a charitable handout or donation or whatever, then we're being done wrong. And what's even worse than that, when they do the boycott, we have right here in Atlanta our own black-owned laundry detergent company that's well known among the people who among a lot of groups. We have our own black-owned toothbrush company, black-owned soap companies. But the people who are behind those companies are Muslim. So the black church leaders, they won't just humble themselves and say, hey, we know you brothers have been in this. Let us promote your product now.
See?
Let's divert the dollars of our church members to your product to support you. They can't do that because it's not about quote unquote black. It's about black Christian.
See?
They're not supporting the Muslims. They can't get behind the Muslims. They can't get behind the economic independent movement that black Muslims have advanced because it shows them up.
Yep. That's it. That's it right there. And he's absolutely right. And this is why, because I had to ask myself, why is it a apparent slowness to get behind the idea? Because it ain't rocket science, and you're very intelligent individuals. You know, some of y'all got 2, 3, 4 degrees. So you're not slow. So why is it slow when it comes to the implication or implementation rather of these concepts? And Brother Rashad just mentioned it. That's why it's slow, because you don't want to be shown up as, I don't know, I guess being incompetent or failing, if you will, whatever the case may be, or whatever your misunderstanding may be, because it could all be a misunderstanding. But whatever it is, it's hindering our progress as a people. That's what we want to get at. The fact that it's hindering our progress as a people because we don't want to unite. We don't want to unite. Brother Nathan said, we're just going to grab a couple of comments out of the comment section while we in the process of this. Brother Nathan said, keep falling for the okie doke question. Is how much you have to be hit in the head and know that it hurts and then turn the other cheek too long. Think about that, fam. How long do you got to be hit in the head? That's what Brother Nathan said. How long do you have to be hit in the head to know that it hurts and then turn the other cheek for too long? Right? How long does that got to happen with us? Because we know what's going on and we know what the solution is. At least one of the solutions to the problem is. So why are we so slow? What's up with the apparent slowness for us to cooperate with one another and to get this thing where it needs to be? And as Brother Rashad said, there must be some level of trepidation with the fact that this is not a black Christian thing. The economic independence ideas. It's not a black Christian thing like that. It's more of a black Muslim thing. And because, as brother said, some of these businesses right here in Atlanta, black-owned toothbrush, black-owned washing detergent, black-owned toilet paper is owned by Muslims. And you don't see no black churches promoting that. You don't see them propping that up. They've been doing this boycott for a minute. Nobody said, hey, since you bought your toilet paper from Target, now go buy this toilet paper. Or since you bought your toothpaste from Target, go buy this toothpaste. Now, I do know that some churches, I believe New Birth did host where they would have vendors, where black vendors could come on a Sunday or whatever the case may be and be able to, sell their products there. But we gotta grow up out of these swap meets. Let me say that too. We got to grow up out of these vendors, swap meet type of thing. When are we going to increase our thinking into store, grocery store, convenience store, drug store? How long are we going to continue to have the swap meet at the church or the swap meet at a venue where you got the vendors there and we buying toilet paper and oils and lotions and all that. That's the stuff you got in CVS and in Walgreens. Why not just make a black-owned convenience store? Drugstore. Why not just do that? We got to get up out of this swap meet mentality. Because that's all we want to do is have meetings at the church and meetings at the venue and meetings at the flea market and people coming there vending their stuff there and all that. And that's beautiful. But we've been doing that for 100 years. We need to get our own stores. We need to think about manufacturing. We need to think about warehousing. We need to think about scale. You got people in our community who know how to scale. They know how to take a business and they know how to scale it. You got the internet now. You got social media now. You can take your idea. You can scale it. You got AI. You can take it and you can put it on a bigger scale so that you can manufacture and sell it all across the country. You don't have to be stuck to your own, local city and your own town and your house and all that kind of stuff because you can only make 6 pies in your oven. But you got people who know how to scale that baking thing where you can start sending pies and stuff all over the country. Right? So we got to start thinking this way. Industrial. That's how we got to think. We got to think about nation building. Not just my church this and my mosque that and my synagogue this. It got to be about nation. We got to get rid of all the stupid labels in this religion thing that keep you from thinking logically. Because the Bible got a lot of us drunk. The Quran got a lot of us drunk. It's silly acting where we can't think logical and the first thing you want to do is pick up Bible and Quran and shake it at somebody. As if you making a point with it. When you sound foolish as hell. People in a hell of a condition and you running around with the damn Bible in your hand or on your dashboard in the car. People in a hell of a condition, you run around with the Quran and your damn head wrap and a damn bow tie or a damn robe on and some sandals at the masjid. People in a hell of a condition, but you so goddamn religious. You understand? So self-righteous. You haven't developed a damn thing and contributed to a damn thing to help get the people out of the condition that they in. When you know that the Holy Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad to help get the Arabs out of their condition at that time. Talk back to me. I had to talk to the Muslims now. You know this. You know this. You know that the Gospels in the ministry of Jesus was going to the oppressed, the poor, and the downtrodden and getting them out of the condition that they was in. How you call yourself a follower of Christ? How you call yourself a follower of Christ and you not working in that vein with like-minded individuals who working in that vein? But you gonna walk around with a damn cross on your damn neck talking about Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Huh? Come on now, you got to make it make sense. It's a bunch of hypocrisy that go on in the church and in the mosque. And we got to just cut all of it out. I don't even know how I got on that. I don't even know how I got there. But Brother Rashad, come on. Let's go ahead and finish it up, brother. Because it don't make no sense. We'll be here another 400 years because we in our own way, because we can't let ego go. Come on, Brother Rashad.
And they would rather bang on the door of the white establishment than simply support African-American Muslims who've done millions of dollars in business. That's in construction, that's in real estate, that's in products, so on and so forth. They can't support it because in their mind, it will be supporting the Muslims. So they want to still be the leaders of our people, and they will block us. They will block our contribution. They'll try to block our contribution to the black community as long as they can keep their spot of leadership. That's why I'm saying they're like the modern day hypocrites. And this goes for not just the church. Remember, I said it's the mother of all of these movements. We have the Congressional Black Caucus. We have the
that's what I was talking
and sororities. About. We have the
Congressional Black Caucus. Glad he brought them up. because they just as trifling. You got the Congressional Black Caucus. As he mentioned, you got the fraternities and the sororities. You know, you got all of the you got the lodge. Can't forget the lodge neither. You understand? All of these organizations that's supposed to have charitable arms, but you got the Muslims working by themselves. Now, you don't have no problem with no sororities or fraternities helping out some churches. They'll do that. A lot of pastors got frat, right? A lot of women in the church, Delta, Zeta, AKA. So all that's intertwined. They'll help each other, but they'll sit back and watch the Muslims do their own thing. Now, how is that going to work? How are we going to be victorious if we can't work as a team? Just want to bring that up.
HBCUs. And as I said, they fear the white establishment. While they secretly want to be like the whites, they are a part of the dominant white establishment. Tell me, what has the Congressional Black Caucus? Everyone is blaming President Obama, though he deserves some blame, for not putting forth any legislation or making any fuss about blacks. And we see him. We have him on record, camera record, talking about homosexuals, Native Americans, so on and so forth. He never once mentioned anything about anything African American. Okay, fine. But the Black Caucus been around forever. What have they done?
Over 8,000 men have permanently broken free from the P word by watching one single video training that you can actually watch by clicking the link below. But
in a meaningful, all we hear about the people who are a part of the establishment. I even hear this from people who are from these fraternities and sororities, went to HBCUs. All they do is complain about the white man. But you spend your whole time trying to be like them and fit in among them. So the black church really, in this group, they really fear us. They fear the black Muslims, the African-American Muslims. Why? Because really that civil rights spirit, that time is dead. No one cares about that stuff anymore. They've run their time. Those great figures like Jesse Jackson and John. Now, mind you, these are our, like as an African-American, all of these people are heroes. And this is all of our history that I personally embrace. But I can have a family member who's a nut. I actually have one. You just have to say, hey, that person's a nut. You just leave it on one or two. You just have to, you can't. In other words, your love for your people and yourself should not separate you from giving a critical analysis of them. That's the point that I'm making. Crying about racism, dead. Look how all of those people on MSNBC, MSNBC is another thing. That's something else. Talking about racism, oh, that's not going to get us anywhere. That movement, that voice, that spirit does not have any effectiveness, especially when it's all of this homosexuality coming out of the church. When it's all of this sexual.
See, you got to bring it out. See, he got to bring it out. You know, see, this not, again, the truth hurt. The truth hurts, but it got to be said because we can't continue to sit up here and act like we don't see pastors promoting homosexuality. You don't see pastors going to speak in quote unquote other gay pastors' churches. Since when? Since when in the word of God was it okay for homosexuality to be embraced? I'm talking about the lifestyle, not the person. Because I know what y'all gonna say. You're gonna say, Brother King Cam, I got family members that's gay, or you got such and such that's gay. We're not talking about your persons, we're not talking about the individuals, right? I got a family member that's gay, right? We're not talking about them as a person. We're talking about the lifestyle. It's right there in the Old Testament. God obliterated a complete city, Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? Over what? Homosexuality. Every pastor, every theologian, every student of theology and who went to seminary school, they know this. You know this. So how is it that the church has come to embrace the exact thing that God says was an abomination? Come on. Come on now. Muslims doing it too, though. You got Muslims doing it too. Online advocating for the LGBTQ community in Muslim garb. I mean, in full hijab. In full hijab. This is why when the ministers say that Satan has crept up into the houses of worship, and that's why in the scripture it said that the judgment of God will start first in the house of God. This is why. See, the judgment has to start first in the house of God because Satan runs the houses of God now. That's just a fact. Satan is all up in church. All up in church. Brother Rashad pointed out right now. Satan running the church. Satan running the mosque. Satan running the masjid. Satan definitely running the synagogue. You understand? This is real. Because if it was not the case, you wouldn't have all of these foreign, anti-biblical, and God ideas and traditions and quotes and lifestyle and funny acting behavior. It would not be permeating out of the houses of God if it was of God himself or of his prophets and messengers. See, you can't put this at Muhammad's feet. You can't put this at Jesus' feet. You can't put this at Moses' feet. This ain't got nothing to do with them. This ain't got nothing to do with God. Satan has entered into the houses of worship. So he running it. And this is why a lot of them have been ineffective to really bring change. And a lot of our people who were once the leaders and on the forefront have been bought out, sold out, and been made powerless now. So they're just figureheads. And they show up, they speak, whatever the case may be. They might do a boycott or two, a press conference here, but you know there ain't nothing going to happen. You know ain't nothing, no real change is going to come. Reverend Al Sharpton used to be one of them ones out there in the streets. He used to be one of them ones out there in the streets, and he used to roll hard with the Muslims. Big Al, not Lil Al you see now, but Big Al was rolling hard with the Muslims, banging too. I mean, he was banging out there. Reverend Al was on it. You know what I'm saying? Really throwing down for our people. But as time went on, things progressed. You know what I'm saying? Democrats came through with that money. Hey, Al got a show, primetime spot on the news. You feel me? He doing his thing. Hey, Reverend Al, we ain't mad at you, brother. But the thing is, though, what we got to understand is that we in a different hour now. Man, life is getting real bad for a lot of people. Everybody's feeling the crunch. Everybody's feeling the crunch. And this Donald Trump thing, him coming into the presidency, see, y'all thought it was because ain't nobody vote for Kamala. And y'all was down bad for 2 weeks. Y'all was hurt. Y'all got packed up by Donald Trump and MAGA and was hurt for 2 weeks because Kamala didn't make it. But what you didn't realize was that wasn't no fault of Kamala necessarily, or even black people not getting out to vote. It was because God has to create the circumstances for us to unify now. You didn't hear me. I said God has to create the circumstances for us to unify. Because if Kamala had got into office, you wouldn't think about unify. You wouldn't be thinking about unification. You wouldn't be thinking about coming together as a people, right? The reason why you wouldn't be thinking about that is because you be too comfortable because you have a black woman as a president. So no, God said, I'm going to put the antithesis of that in office. And I'm going to give you everything that Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Bill Clinton, Nixon, I'm going to give you everything going back to George Washington all in one. And President Trump. And then I'm going to give him social media. I'm going to give him a following. I'm going to give him power. I'm going to give him money. I'm going to make him the baddest thing smoking. See? And what he going to do is he going to make it so difficult. He going to make it so hard. He going to make it so restrictive out here for black people that you're going to have to come together. Because he not playing. See, that's why you get up there talking that crazy stuff about opposing Trump, and then Trump hear about it. He gonna blast you on Truth Social. He gonna blast you on X. And then he might have them federal One of them federal people come down there and put their hands on you. Go ahead and lock you up. You get you a nice old, find you a way right over there into a nice little jail cell in D.C. You keep playing. He ain't playing. He locking senators up, U.S. Congress people, state spokesmen, state reps. It don't matter. Your title means nothing. It's MAGA or nothing. Trump or nothing. Get down or lay down. You better get on the right page. You better stop thinking that this is some type of joke. And all these guys out here, all these people with platforms thinking they're about to speak out against the government and go at Trump by yourself, and you don't have no backing, you don't have the community, you're not tied in with the rest of the organizations, you don't think he's going to come and snatch you right up off that pulpit? Shh. All right. You don't know who you fooling with. And with time it is. That's why unity is so important. That's why organization, mobilization is so important. That's why being able to pool our resources is so important. Come on, Brother Rashad, man, let's go ahead and take us out on this thing, man. Because this thing is heavy. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We got 153 people live. Shout out to the whole family, man. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, smash that like button. Follow us on YouTube. Grow our channel on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on social media, on all our social media platforms, at Brother King Cam, as well as Shifting the Culture Pod. Come on, Brother Rashad, let's go.
Immorality coming from the church leaders. When the church has yet to develop a community plan for our people. When the African American church leadership no longer is in the forefront of the freedom movement, they are in the forefront, or they turn a blind eye to the presence of debauchery and immorality coming from the other part of Black culture, as I mentioned, and they do not make serious investments in the uplift of their own people.
Why did Amazon send me $20,000? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you.
Boom. There you have it. So I like that video that Brother Rashad did, man, breaking that down and bringing that point up, because, again, it wasn't about dissing the Black church. But we had to bring and highlight these different things that's going on because the Black church is so valuable. That's why we had to have this conversation. Not because we were trying to throw shade, but because the Black church is that valuable that we got to make sure that we on the same page. And we can't continue to have this separation, this jealousy, this envy, all of these different things that's stopping us from working together. There has yet, to my knowledge, be a meeting called in reference to this Target boycott or other boycotts that everybody has been invited to attend and have meaningful conversation and dialogue and input in, so that we can come to a solution on the same page that we all could get behind and we could all push the point. It's just people coming up with their own thing, getting with their own crew and putting this stuff together and doing what they do. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. But what I'm saying is the enemy is not playing fair, and unity is the only thing that's going to keep us from falling victim. Did you hear what I'm saying? Because see, when the powers that be decide to lock in and close in and zero in on a person, especially if they got their own little cult-like movement, but they don't have too much other backing outside, man, they take down them guys all the time. You know, man, they get all of the guys like that. They got Jim Jones. Didn't get Jim Jones because he killed himself. But what's homeboy that was running Waco? Can't think of his name. They got him. They locked Yahweh Ben Yahweh up. You understand? Malachi York. Anytime you get off and try to do your own thing solo dolo, because you got a little movement behind you, then the powers that be, they come and they humble you. And it's only when we have unity as a people that you have more power. That's why you don't see Chinese people getting dragged up and down the street by the police. You don't see them being abused. You don't see them discriminated against like that. Why? Because Asians have the backing of the bigger Asian nations, right? So you got China, who is not an ally of the United States of America. Now, Japan is not an ally. I think Japan is an ally neither. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know South Korea is. But these other Asian nations are not necessarily allies of the United States of America. But the bigger point is they are nations of themselves so that they people have something that they attach to. So if you get to drag in some Asian Americans, especially if they Chinese around out here in the United States, you don't think you're going to get a phone call from China and say, hey, what you got going on out there with our people? Do we need to have a meeting? Do we need to meet somewhere in the middle? Because we ain't coming to the United States, and I know you ain't coming to China, so where we going to meet at to have this meeting? But we're going to have to pull up and have a conversation. See, that's why you don't see that type of stuff happening with them. You only see that happening with black people. Why? Because we have not attached ourselves to the greater community of our people, whether it be in the United States, where it's 40 million of black people in America, or what some people call FBAs or American descendants of slaves, whatever you want to classify yourself as. But just the black man in America is 40 million deep. Then if you add on the rest of the African diaspora, we are the majority and the enemy is the minority. 4.4 billion of us. At that time, that number was quoted in the lessons in 1931, 31, 32. You understand? 4.4 billion. The enemy is 104 million. Come on now. They are the minority. But we got to get out our own way. Like I said, 40 million of us here in America. That's that. The minister said there's nations that got less than 40 million people. Got a whole sovereign independent nations that are less than 40 million people. We got 40 million people in America, and we don't have nothing as far as land that we can call our own. We don't even got our own flag. We sharing the flag with our enemy. We share. That's why the Nation of Islam got our own flag. So we don't have to share the same flag with the open enemy. Did you build America? Yes, you did. But you did it under the flag that you hold, but you was a slave, 1/5 of a human being, and considered property under that flag. So God gave us a new flag where you are considered not only a human being, but the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Now you tell me which flag you want, family. Which flag you want, family? Huh? Which flag you want? So listen, I'm closing because I want to close. I'm gonna close on this, and we getting out of here because they got this. This white only community, right? They got this white. Oh shoot! No! Don't do that. I don't know why my computer be tripping like that. We got this white only community, and I'm gonna be doing a Twitter space on this, so y'all make sure y'all tap into that. But we're gonna get into a conversation about this. But they have a white only community, and it's been making the news, and a lot of people having different conversations around this white only community, and it's in Arkansas. And check this out. Now it says that Arkansas Attorney General slams white only community that might be expanding to Missouri and the Ozarks. The Attorney General of Arkansas. I really want to see this. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I want to get into what this white only group is about. It's a group that is talking about buying land. They got 150 acres in Arkansas. Group co-founder Eric Orwell recently garnered national attention for the segregated community he helped launch on the roughly 150 acres in northeast Arkansas. And he garnered more attention this week after revealing that his group might launch a community in Springfield, Missouri, with his self-expressed motive basically amounting to racist anti-diversity hysteria. Quote, this is what he said. Whites should have the ability to live among their own people if that's what they want to do. And mass immigration is quickly, let me pull this up on the screen, it's quickly making that nearly impossible in many Western nations. This is what Orwell told KOLR TV, the CBS affiliate in Springfield. If individuals decide to live in multiracial communities, then they should be allowed to do so, but we don't want racial forced on us in every aspect of life. This is what he said. He said they don't want racial force on them in every aspect of life. So they saying that if white people want to live in white-only communities, they should have the ability to do so. Okay? So this is what they got going on. Now, a lot of people got some different thoughts on that. Now, this is our thing. This is our thing. This is my thing. I don't have no problem if that's what white people decide they want to do. Good. We don't want to live with y'all. We don't want y'all living with us. We cool. Matter of fact, we've been working on black-only communities for a long time. Now, none of our black-owned towns were that white people could never move there. That's the difference. See, in this private community they putting together, they say no Jews, no blacks can come move there. They just want straight Anglo-Saxon white people. Our black-owned towns in the early 1900s was not saying that white people couldn't move there, but at that time, white people ain't want to move with us anyway. So we knew that it was going to be all black through and through. So that's fine. The problem is, though, we went to do our thing, building our own communities, building our own governments, being successful, you understand? And then here y'all come hating on our success, tearing down everything that we built, lying on us, claiming that some white girl was raped. That gave you an excuse to come and try and string up some black men and burn down the town. You did it in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You did it in Rosewood and all of the other over 600 towns, black-owned cities and towns that we had, a lot in the Midwest. You did it in Oscarville right here in Georgia and Forsyth County. Put the whole town underwater and put a lake over it that they call Lake Lanier today. We can get into that at another time. Point is, they got this own white-owned community. And the thing is, though, we got to understand that I heard some people saying that it's a problem that they got the white-owned community because we know that this white-owned community is going to be a breeding ground for white nationalism. It's going to be a breeding ground for white domestic terrorists. It's going to be a breeding ground for anti-black ideology. You feel me? We know this. And anytime that white people get together and have their own private Anglo-Saxon party, that party is going to include barbecued Negroes strung from a tree. Huh? You didn't hear me. You know that every time white people get together, that it's not going to be roses. It's not going to be just kicking back and chilling. They're going to be plotting on how they can get rid of some Negroes. They always got violence added to the mix. Always got violence added to the mix. So people were saying, hey, this is not a good thing because we know what happens if they got their own community over there. But what happens if a black Amazon driver, black FedEx driver come through there, somebody get lost, come through there, and then they end up unalived? Then we got a problem because black people are not protected constitutionally, which is true. Black people are not constitutionally protected. But do you think, this is my question, do you think now under the President Donald Trump administration with MAGA in place that black people are going to be constantly protected now? So we got to start looking at this thing from another perspective. And if they're going to make their own private owned communities, and they will, because they're doing it and they understand how to navigate the legal loopholes and all of that stuff to get around like the Fair Housing Act and all of that kind of stuff. We as a people have to unify. That's how you bypass all of that. Because you're going to say, well, what if somebody get lost? You can't get lost. Point being, our communication got to be so strong. We got to be so on code that we know where these type of towns and communities are. And we say, look, man, you can't go around there. You got to be able to stand up at your job and say, look, I ain't running that route. You ain't going to get me over there. See, you got to now be ready to face. You got to think about now that this is the type of America you're going to have to live in. See, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that they need to split America up. Give us 8 to 10 states. That's what I said. 8 to 10 states. We need 8 to 10 states. All black people. Give us that. United States government, we need 8 to 10 states to make that black America. You understand? We need to enter into negotiations so that we can have some of this earth that we can call our own. Since you want to just be popping up with private communities, nah, the hell with that. We need reparations. You still owe us from slavery. And since we built this country and the Native Americans was here before you got here, the Aboriginal people, and you stole the land from them, nah, we need some of this land. Don't you come around here buying these little private pieces of land, trying to set up these old white-owned communities just so you can get to terrorizing black people in the name of white supremacy culture. And we don't have nothing to say about it. Nah, you want to do that? Fine. But we need our land too so that we can soldier up too. Because a lot of the times when they came to our communities and towns and burned them down, it's because we didn't have no apparatus there to protect ourselves. We had business. We had economics. We had everything else thriving for us, but we didn't really have that self-defense piece in place. We didn't have that self-defense piece in place. And because we was coming fresh out of slavery back then, we wasn't really up to defending ourselves and retaliating against white people like that. So they came, burned our stuff down. We ain't never built it back. So, but today, you dealing with a different type of black person today. So white people don't think that you're going to come and do something in our community and you're going to get away with it today. It don't work like that. But what we have to do, though, brothers and sisters, we got to be organized, disciplined, mobilized. This is what we got to do. That's why we got to be on the same page. Because, see, they building their own little separate communities. And what you going to be out here still talking about something? I don't follow nobody and I just do my own thing. This is why it's important that those who got leadership, this is my last point, those who got influence, you should be pushing your people to join some type of organization. Black organization. When the minister had the height of influence during the Million Man March, the minister took the time when he was talking to almost 2 million black men. He directed them not to join the Nation of Islam if that's not what you wanted to do, even though if you wanted to come our way, we take you. But he said, join some black organization, any black organization, so that you can be organized, mobilized, and you can be accounted for. So that when things get rough, you ain't out here by yourself just looking. Because that's what's going to happen to a lot of black people. And the sad thing is, see, we don't value organizations until the enemy come knocking on your door. And the police then drag somebody out your house, drag them out the car, kill somebody and the same person, you, that said, I ain't in no organization. I ain't following nobody. Now all of a sudden, you up there with the press conference talking about you need the black community to come and speak out against this issue and we need to galvanize and rally around the family. Wait a minute. They won't come in none of the meetings before. They wasn't interested in anything we was doing before, but now all of a sudden, because they done been hit with it personally, now they want to be a part of what we got going on. See, it don't work like that. We're going to have to cut that off too. Black people got to get on code. We got to stop acting like babies. We're going to stop treating you like, we're going to start treating you like children. And people going to have to start calling shots, and you either going to have to get with it or you can get up out of here. You can go hang out with them in Anglo-Saxon Arkansas if that's what you want to do, or you can take it and be out there by yourself. See how long you make it. But listen, family, that's the time. All right, that's the time. We up to 162 people live. Man, shout out to y'all. Respect to the law. Respect to Allah. This your brother King Cam, and this is Shifting the Culture podcast. We appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Man, make sure, again, that you follow us on YouTube. Follow us and make sure that you subscribe, like and subscribe. Make sure that you follow us on all social media platforms at Brother King Cam, as well as at Shifting the Culture Pod on Instagram. We appreciate you all for tuning in tonight, family. Make sure you join us next week, same time, same place. All right? Here at Shifting the Culture Podcast. We appreciate you. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find the leadership of our own.
You know. Not your average nigga, I'm a guy out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like